what would you shoot opening day, and like what would make you happy. And honestly, like, this may sound cliche, but I'm always shooting for like that 150 mark. Now, if it's a property, see, but I fall kind of in a different category than you guys, I would say. And there's no hate behind this. It's just how life has been handed to me. Like, I don't have any property that is like family, that is like a really close family friend, like, you know, coworker. Like, every property that I hunt is knock on door permission. I could lose it tomorrow. So I wish I would say that like I wouldn't shoot a 150-inch 3-year-old, but if a 150-inch 3-year-old walked by me on a permission piece that I can't manage, that I can't put food plots in, that 10 other guys are hunting, I'm shooting that deer. Now, I do feel that I shouldn't say eat a lot of tags. I've only ate 2 tags in the last like 8 years, but I eat a tag every once in a while because I get kind of arrogant and too cocky, where I'm like, I need to kill X, Y, and Z caliber of deer, like I did this year. Like, this year was like 160 or bust, and I did end up missing that 160, but I had multiple deer that were well into the boom that I was chasing on property that was by permission.
All right, guys.
$3.
One day,
same tree. Oh my God, I'm so.
Woo!
Holy shit! Get a shot of these.
2 farms this year. Number 1 is done.
Did you say bye, Kevin?
I did. I already did. Bye, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin. Bye, Kevin.
Smoked it, buddy. Look at that. You destroyed it.
Joey takes the shop is closing up.
Make sure he takes all his right antlers. All right, guys. Welcome to the Deer Shop Podcast, episode 31, brought to you by Siman Brothers Outdoors and the Leaky John Boat Company. As always, please leave a review and comment on the app of your choice. On today's podcast, we're going to be diving into a topic that is very interesting and relatable to me and our guys, and I'm sure some of the audience out there as well. We have Matt Williams of Born Again Bowhunting in the studio with us, another local YouTube channel and podcast. We've been friends with Matt now for about 3 years. He's someone that we can relate to in a lot of ways, and at the same time, we still have plenty of differences. And today we're going to talk about what it's like to juggle work, family, and trying to run a consistent hunting social media site at the same time. And then we're definitely going to dive off into some hot topics and some other stuff at the end. But I'll let Matt introduce himself, talk about his operation. Just for the record, Matt, we call you, amongst our group of people, we call you Born Again Matt because we have like 100 different Matts.
Yeah, we have lots of
We have
Matts.
Matt Pavlik, Matt Spaniel. I mean, there's just too many Matts. So
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you're Born Again Matt, and you got your Arnold Palmers in the studio. I forgot to buy
I was
you some.
surprised. I was hoping you guys have a 12-pack waiting for me, you know?
He asked me about it, and I've been so busy.
Yeah, he
I'm
missed
in
out.
like baby mode. I got a little bit more than a month left, and
You're good.
it's been nuts. But
Yeah,
And we are going to talk about the Arnold Palmers a little bit too as well.
let's do it. Yeah, so I'm Matt Williams. Started a YouTube channel, kind of social media thing. Actually, it started on Instagram just kind of for fun, and then it kind of turned into a little bit more than that. Born Again Bowhunting, we have a YouTube channel, all the socials, and we've been really hitting a podcast lately. And I know we'll probably talk about this in the podcast, but our YouTube channel has been kind of suffering lately. I'd say the last 2 years been suffering, and basically what happened was we all got, I don't want to say big boy jobs because, you know, I'm almost 30, but we all took on roles that were just, you know, like management positions and like a foreman and stuff like that. So the hunting and filming and podcasting just it all kind of slowed down, but I'm sure we're going to dive into that. But yeah.
yeah, that's one of the things we'll definitely be getting into that. Your guys' podcast was the first one that we were really guests on and listening to. You weren't the first one I was a guest on, but your guys' podcast that you guys started and you brought your stuff to Indiana a couple years ago, kind of really jump started our like, man, we need to do this too, because it's like, it's cool.
It's such a cool
fun.
platform to be able to get on and talk. We're not stuck to the videos because sometimes we're only showing 5 minutes of face for a whole year for somebody for a video, but we can get them on the podcast and they can talk as much as they want.
It's actually been a lot of fun with our guys that don't film but are part of the group and are always around, but kind of camera shy. They seem to like coming on the podcast.
Yeah, you might see them in the background of video for 2 seconds, but when they come on the podcast, the audience can actually hear from them and see what they're about.
I truly enjoy podcast platform, honestly. Like I know I've told you this before. I
have it in my notes.
I enjoy the podcast more than YouTube, and I would give up our YouTube channel today to just pursue our podcast channel.
Whew,
we're almost opposite of that.
Yeah.
We do the podcast for fun, and the YouTube's kind of like more of our bread and butter.
Yeah.
I will say I enjoy that the podcast has made it so we can. It gives us consistent content on YouTube. It's made it in the last year, this last deer season. I can slow down the amount of videos I'm making and focus on making just the videos that I want instead of having to worry about getting something out weekly or every 2 or 3 weeks. Because
every week we have an hour-long video going out.
Right. It's been huge for us. It's really helped. I know you guys were filming all your podcasts and put them on YouTube, and then you started your own podcast channel, and that's tough these days.
That was a terrible decision.
Trying to start a new channel right now is
we
tough.
talked about that for like half a second.
Terrible.
It was right when you guys were doing yours, and we're like, they're not having good luck with that.
No.
So we decided we're just going to put all of ours on our main channel.
Anyone listening out there that might have a social media or YouTube or whatever that might be wanting to dabble in the podcast, do not make your own podcast YouTube channel because
it's so saturated.
The numbers do not correlate to.
Yeah, because you need those subscribers, you need those return viewers, and you need your videos to get in front of people's eyes. And when you start a new channel, unless you have a viral video, they're simply just not put in front of people to watch.
So what I thought, it was actually, I don't want to say it was my idea, but like I was the one pushing it because I didn't really like how our main channel was kind of looking. I didn't like the, I don't know. I kind of wanted our main channel to just be our hunts, and like quote unquote.
When you look at your channel, you see podcast, hunt, and then four more podcasts, then hunt.
Exactly.
I feel what you're saying on that.
I
the
don't
aesthetics
like the
of my
look.
channel are very important to me. Like I look at it every day to make sure everything looks right. But
I think YouTube has kind of done that themselves with the podcast tab.
Yep.
So I think that helps a lot because people can go to your channel and see your actual videos, then they can see all your podcast videos.
Yep.
Kind of separated the two.
Yep. And we were doing really well. Honestly, we were getting like, it's not going to sound like a lot to some people out there, but we were getting 500 to 1,000 views per podcast on our main channel. And for a podcast and a local channel like us, that I thought that was fantastic numbers. And then I really thought that those same people viewing would just click one button and go over to our podcast channel, and like 30 people went over.
Yeah,
so,
it just doesn't translate.
I dive into our metrics every now and then. And like if you actually log into the YouTube studio, it shows a lot more than like what you can on the phone. But you got to think that those casual viewers, they're just popping on their TV when they're sitting down at night. They're not following us as close as we know that we're saying things. So they probably, even if you said, hey, we got a new channel, this and that, you got to follow it, it's not popping up on their TV. So they're not even bothering to go to it. They figure, they'll post on here too or whatever. And, it makes it tough.
Simply if it doesn't get in front of their eyes, they're not going to go searching for it.
Yeah. And then that kind of died because Jarrett, one of the guys on Born Again, he was actually kind of running the podcast edit for the video. And what happened was him and his wife had a baby.
Yeah.
So,
trust me, I'm
he
less than a month away, or right around a month away from the same.
So yeah, it really, and obviously this is why we're having this podcast discussion. It's the work-life, situation, just it wasn't doable. So we just kind of said we were going to cut out. But I will say one thing, we are going to start filming again very soon, actually, because we really benefited from the shorts and the reels and all that you get from it. I know our channel really did well because of those, and we definitely want to get back into it.
Yeah, I was gonna dive into the shorts and reels and stuff kind of a little bit later, but I will say there's even amongst our group of friends, we all uptake our podcasts a little bit differently. I like being at home during the day, like when on my days off work. I like putting them on my main TV in my living room while I'm cleaning or just doing whatever in and out of the house. And
you're talking about other channels.
Yeah, and I'll have the podcast like yours or whoever's, Hunter for sure. I'll have these podcasts playing in the background as I'm in and out throughout the whole day. I only have a 28-minute drive to work, and I only drive to work 10 times a month. So I don't get as much car time as a guy like you. I know on our crew, Nick, He's in his car 8 hours a day. He listens to every podcast in the world when it comes to hunting, and he sits there and
he scrutinizes our podcast and things we don't even remember.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
He listens to them so much.
He listens to them all, but I don't have any time to do that. I'm not in a car very much, so I actually play the video ones at my TV, and when we're here in the shop, there's always something on in the background. Podcasts are great, especially we play Meat Eater and Hunter a lot in here. Meat Eater we'll throw on. Just to have something going on in the background while we're tinkering or
and we chose to make it a point to videotape every single one of ours because we knew our podcast was going to start really small on the the Spotify, the Apple podcast and stuff because we had no audience and we knew we already had an audience on YouTube. So I think putting those on YouTube has really helped
smart.
It grow a little bit.
We had pretty. I was happy with the metrics during deer season. It's obviously started to really tail down. I mean, January was actually still okay. February's just a dead zone.
Yeah, and that's something we haven't really delved into was the metrics on the radio systems of podcasts. We don't know how to advertise that to get it out there more besides just Facebook and stuff like that. So our views or our downloads have been pretty consistent throughout our podcast.
It seemed like there's the
it's like always the same. It's got to be the same people.
Same 100 to 150 people just every week, and that's it. Like it hasn't grown a lot, but it's been very consistent with where it's at. So.
And then our YouTube views are pretty consistent too, unless we have an extra good podcast that will get a little bit more views.
Yeah. This time of year's tough either way. But.
And then we streamlined our process of editing these videos. So now we film with 2 cameras, which can be a lot to edit if you're trying to cut in,
bounce back and forth,
especially if you're trying to bounce in. But I cheat a little bit, and both these cameras can see all 3 of us.
Hey.
So I can make a lot of random cuts throughout the whole thing instead of having to go, if you 2 are talking this camera, if I'm talking this camera. So we did that for the first few podcasts, and it was like 8 hours to edit one.
I know.
Now I can get this done 15 minutes, ship it off to Caleb. He adds some stuff in there, and then we're done.
Yeah, I really enjoy like the Hunter podcast, how they're able to show each person when they're talking individually, but
they have a full-time guy doing it.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was saying. They got a full-time guy behind a laptop.
Sitting there on a laptop.
While it's going.
Which we have been talking about getting the equipment to do that, to do like a live video switcher, so I could sit here and switch camera angles. But you almost can't be on the podcast if you're doing that.
Yeah, you can't.
Because I can't be sitting here trying to engage in a conversation going back camera.
Yeah, you need somebody behind the camera like they've got.
Ethan would be a good one for that. That way he keeps his big breathing nose and all this stuttering out of it.
Yeah, we could have someone back there on the switcher.
Have Luke do it. Have Luke sit on the couch.
Yeah, because he doesn't like talking.
Yeah.
When it comes to editing your YouTube videos, you guys are, if I remember correctly, I know we've had this conversation before, you guys are Apple users?
Yep, Final Cut Pro.
You're using Final Cut Pro, and you like it?
I do. But to be honest, I'm kind of biased. I've never used anything else.
Okay. That was me up until last year. I'd only ever used Video Studio with the Windows, and Isaac finally made a switch to DaVinci, and he told me, like, dude,
everybody uses DaVinci
because it's amazing.
Yeah, and the learning curve's a little bit much, but once you learn the basics, it's pretty easy. Then it has every advanced feature you could ever ask for.
Yep. Yeah.
We ended up buying the Pro or whatever. It's like a one-time fee, and we can. Did you get that? On your
computer? I didn't get that figured out. Okay. I have a couple projects open for my Western film, so I didn't want to download the studio version and lose those projects.
So I think I did download it during having a project open, and I think it worked okay, but don't take my word for it.
What are we talking money-wise? I'll just be straight because
I think was it 3 or 400?
So DaVinci is free and it has
but the Pro version.
The Pro version is $299.
That's not bad.
It's a one-time purchase, and you get it for 2 computers.
I think that's what I paid for Final Cut Pro.
And it updates as it goes, and you can do. I mean, they colorize like Hollywood movies with DaVinci's color editor. It's that.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool.
high tech. They have, if you want to get crazy, that you can buy specific DaVinci keyboards that are custom and rollers.
Can you use it on Apple?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I have, that's all we run is like MacBooks.
Yes. I don't even know how to use a Mac.
So if you want to play around with it, it's free.
I don't know how to use it.
It is free to try, and I use the free version. I've used the free version for all the videos that I've edited. And it really has all the.
What's the difference between the Pro and the free?
You get different transitions, and then you can really dive into like the
color grading. And
well,
stuff?
No, the color grading doesn't have a lot.
All
of
that's
things,
free.
But it's the denoise and the.
It's basically the stuff that takes a really powerful computer to use.
Yeah.
And to get into the nerdy stuff, it's some of the video codecs. So if you want to use 10-bit video for the color coding and stuff, you need the studio version.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We can plug in what camera we're using, and then it opens up.
Yeah, there's a whole
it gets
bunch
crazy.
of stuff.
Wow.
That's Isaac's more into that kind of stuff than I am, but who is your main editor?
Me.
And then, so I'm assuming the guys are all filming on their memory cards and then either getting you the cards or putting them on hard drives. Like, what's your storage?
Yeah.
How are you guys transferring your videos between each other?
So the guys, I mean, memory cards are cheap, right? So the guys will have 4 or 5, decent quality memory cards. And I originally, when we first started, they would just hand me the card and be like, hey, I had a cool encounter on this day or whatever, and I'd have to go through,
40
so
videos
many stupid videos of like squirrels and you know how it is when you're filming. You've got 6 takes before you get an actual good one.
Yeah.
So now I have the guys go through and basically edit their memory cards, even if it's just on the camera. Like, hey, delete the takes that were dumb, delete the takes that were bad, give me only the good ones. So instead of 40 videos, I only got to look at like 15.
Yeah.
And then I'm storing them on a hard drive. I use Lacey. I know a lot of guys are, up or down for
Is that
Lacey.
the orange box?
That's the orange box.
We have one of those.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. It froze up.
Well, it's old. That thing is old. I
Froze
bought
up.
that in like middle school.
Yeah. I plug it in and it just makes noise and nothing happens.
Knock on wood. I've got like a 2 terabyte. I've got a 4 terabyte, and it still keeps on running. And then countless 1 terabytes.
So we do kind of the similar, but so Ethan and Luke are recording on those cameras over there, the G50s and 60s, the Canons.
Yeah, the Canons.
They create every single day. They create a different file, like a folder. So every hunt is on a different folder instead of being all in one.
Yep.
Like my Panasonic and Isaac's Panasonic, they all record. Everything's in one folder, chronological. Nope. Ethan's is every single day. So you click on a folder, there might be 2 videos. Click on the next folder, 1 video.
Yeah.
Pain in the butt.
That's how I film mostly with a Canon XA11, which is just like the fancier version of the G50 with like a handle.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. And honestly, I kind of like it because, how many hunts do you have? They're just like pointless when it comes to filming.
It's
so much.
Right. So it's
and then you can just go to that day and be like, okay, this is the day that I had that encounter.
So it does, right. It does have those advantages, but then Ethan will be like, well, especially it was during the rut, it was crazy because every day 3 or 4 of us are out filming, and then I had to go through the footage, and it's like, well, I had an encounter with this deer on that day and this deer on that day. But his problem was he was using different GoPros for a second angle. So all his interviews were on one of either Luke has 2 DJIs and he has a GoPro, and he was using Isaac's GoPro. So to correspond his interview with his footage, I'd have to dig up 3 cameras, and then naturally they'd all be at my house, and someone would want to go out hunting, and all the cameras are at my house.
Yeah, Caleb was really good at stealing cards, so he'll come and take the cards out of the cameras.
And then you grab
the cameras were still here. We'll
on.
grab the cameras. Multiple times I've had to grab a card from a trail camera that's below the stand and put it in my camera so I can film the hunt. Because I get my camera and there's no card in it.
Yeah, that's classic.
But we tried to get better towards the end of the season. We were putting it all on a hard drive and letting Caleb take the hard drive.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3. We're using the SanDisk SSDs because I'm just so paranoid that I'll lose the footage. So we're using these SanDisk to go back and forth, and I'll bring them back and forth to the farm and transfer footage that way. Makes it a lot easier. Plus, they can just pull out what the good stuff is without having to.
Yeah, it's real easy. The guys just delete what they don't want, keep what they want, give me the SD card, and they might have 4 or 5 SD cards that they run all year, and then I'll just take that SD card, put it on a hard drive. Next time I see them, I'll give them back a clean copy of that SD card. So,
so your workflow because you have the normal job, and Jarrett, when he was doing the podcast editing, has a normal job. I'm talking 9 to 5. I know that's probably not your actual hours, but you guys have this everyday work thing. What would be your workflow? Did you have a specific day you were editing? Were you just trying to get to it in the evenings? So I do all mine during the day.
Yeah.
In the morning was my favorite time to do it, and obviously that's not going to work with you.
Yeah. So basically when we were, so I'll just kind of rewind because it's going to make a little bit more sense. We were trying to film and edit more of like a semi-live kind of series where whether it was like a week or 2 behind, but it was like really close to almost semi-live. And what we would do, and the reason why I'm saying this is because we're transitioning to a different kind of format of how we're going to film because of our jobs. What we would do is we always tried to produce a video on a Monday or a Tuesday, depending on how crazy things were. But Sunday night, during hunting season, I would hunt morning and evening, and then I'd get home from work, and I would throughout the week I would organize the footage and get it kind of how I would want it. And then Sunday night, I would sit down for 4, 5, 6 hours, however long it took. And a lot of times I'd go to bed at midnight. A lot of times I'd go to bed, a little bit later. And the problem that I was having was, it's not feasible.
No.
Like, you can't do that. During hunting season, like during the summer, it's easy because who cares? Like, you're not doing anything. You could start your editing process at noon if you wanted to on
you're not
Sunday.
spending 8 hours in a tree stand.
But during hunting season, it's not doable because I'm trying. Ultimately, I want to kill something.
Right.
This isn't my living, so it's not like it's not like I'm gonna sit there and editing's more important. No, it's hunting is more important to me at least. So it worked for a little bit when I was younger. I will say that. Took on some more responsibilities at work. I'm now a foreman for where I work. So I'm an install foreman at WG, and I work 50, 60 hours a week, plus try to hunt, plus have a wife. It's a lot.
You always got to balance the family.
Well, you bring up a funny point. Sunday would be the worst day for us to do any of our editing because
that's when we're always trying to.
We're watching football from 11 o'clock to
I have
midnight.
I have to sacrifice a lot. Yeah, it's not fun.
So to get off on a tangent, you work WD Jerry's your full-time job now.
WG Dairy, yeah.
So my grandfather-in-law, so my wife's grandpa, every time I see him, literally I've known him now for 8 years. Every time I see him, he talks about how he's got to take me fishing at WD Jerry because you guys have the best bass fishing lakes in the world. And he's like, apparently he's the only guy, you know how it is. He's the only guy who's allowed to fish it. Yeah. And my wife, she used to take my wife when she was a little kid, and she'd catch 5-pound bass on every cast. And he's talked about WG Dairy like since I've known him, and I've never gone down.
Well, I will say, I probably shouldn't say this on the podcast, but I've caught probably some 4 or 5 pounders out of that pond.
He says it's the best fishing he's ever had. He was
insane.
A UPS driver, so he's one of those guys that like, you got a pond, and he would just meet all these people, and he ended up with the people down there and knew them and got fishing permission. And
no, there's some hogs in there, and I'm not really big into fishing, but there's 4 or 5 pounders in there all day long.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the workflow, I mean, with us, obviously, me and Isaac, we don't do a ton of, to backtrack even farther to give our side of things. We take most of the fall off. I have
so
mid-October-ish usually is when I start until about right around gun season, December. I usually take that entire chunk of time off. So editing in the fall isn't necessarily a problem, but I don't get as much done as I would like to because we're hunting and traveling so much that it does make the editing process actually kind of hard. Our normal, since we're firemen, we work 9 to 11 shifts a month. I get a lot more editing done in the off season because, Monday through Friday, I'm only working 2 or 3 days, and that gives me 3 or 4 days to, in the morning, sit down and do some editing, and then I can spend the afternoon with my family, do this and that.
Yeah, in February, March, whatever it is.
There's nothing else.
What are we doing at 10 a.m. when we get home from work?
Nothing.
If we're not sleeping, then we can work on videos.
You guys definitely have the job to make this work, 100%.
A little side note, when we had Aaron on the podcast, I wanted him to be, I wish he was able to come tonight. Aaron from Next Step Outdoors. He's sick. He lives 3 minutes down the street and would have been perfect for this because he does it full time. Yeah. He says he's sick. He was at he said he was at one of the shows last week, Pennsylvania.
Aaron, get here, why don't you?
Yeah, he was going to be the perfect third person to be on here because he's full time YouTube. But he said, and I can't remember if he said it on air or if he said it when we were just talking afterwards. But he did an interview. He did an interview with the CEO of Sitka, some type of sit down, business learn type interview, a 4 or 5 hour. I think it might have been paid.
It's a consultation or
really?
Consultation.
So it's a consultation. These people, they do consulting and you pay them. And blah, blah.
The guy's first advice was, step 1, if you want to do this full time for a living, become a fireman. Was number 1 thing he told Aaron.
Really?
Because you can you'll have a salary and a full time job, benefits, retirement, career, health care for your family and everything, and you only work 10 days a month. So that was the first thing the CEO of Sitka said to Aaron. Was just go become a fireman. So there's that.
Dude, I'm so jealous.
Because when you do this full time, you have to hustle all the time, and you have to take some deals, and you have to do this because you need to make a living.
Yeah.
I was THP drives me nuts. I was watching the turkey tour the other day.
Dude,
I can't remember if it was a new one or old one, but they're editing videos like the day that they release their videos is the day they're editing them, which and that footage might be from
that
year before. No, like a year before. Like, it's crazy to me because they're like they'll make their Instagram reel like, hey, we're working on getting you tonight's video. It should be ready by 7. Should be ready by 7. Like, my videos have been uploaded on YouTube for 6 months, just waiting in the queue, you know, and they're full time at it, and they got 10 guys.
Yeah,
So
but I mean,
to me, that's wild.
But they're also producing so many more hunts
crazy.
than we are.
Crazy.
But
we did that semi-live thing for a couple years that you talked about. Like, actual, like, the day there was a period of time where I was coming home at night editing a video and putting it on for that next morning.
Really?
It was kind of fun and it kind of worked, but I didn't enjoy having to edit.
Dude,
every day. Like,
I will say it, like, when you work, and I probably don't work as much as the next guy, but I do have a busy schedule, and when you work as much as I do, and you're trying to be a good husband, you know, and you're trying to hunt as much as possible, dude, I am so burnt out of editing that, like, there's a reason why I haven't done anything in months, because I'm just so sick and tired of it. Like, my life consisted of working, hunting, editing, and then any free time that I had was for my wife, and like she was getting barely any time. Yeah, it was rough.
You know, and we watch these guys on TV or on YouTube and stuff, and they have editors that work, guys that'll send their footage off to editors. I wouldn't want to do that.
I know.
Because what would they know about anything?
You give up your creative.
What would they know? What would they know about that deer? They would just make a video with what looks good, and then it's like, well, that's not what I wanted to portray.
And plus, if you ever looked into how expensive that is,
I can't imagine how expensive it is. A lot of these people have cameramen follow them around.
It is stupid money,
and that's how THP gets away with it with the interns.
Yep.
So they have these interns that come with
free editors.
Yep, free. They pretty much house them, and that's it.
I mean, I feel like they've done a pretty good job of their interns have got their own following to a point. Like, some of their guys, like I saw online the other day that Roy,
the Turkey Van tour.
Curl Roy, he has his own, but he's been editing for other people too. Like, all of a sudden, he's editing for guys. I don't know if you saw that comment that I think it was Parker McDonald or maybe one of the other guys that runs Tanner runs a pretty good sized channel. Roy was doing some editing for him. So these guys are getting jobs here and there, and then they've actually hired some of their interns full time.
And I think the group of people that do the full time filming and editing for these big channels we see is very small. I was listening to a podcast the other day. It's called Wolf Untamed. So Derek Wolf used to play for the Packers, and he was on there with Aaron Schneider, which is a Kufaru guy. Yeah. Anybody that watches Western knows his stuff. But they were like arguing because their cameraman was the same guy. And like, he's trying to get him for the same hunt they're going on, but only one of them can get that guy at a time.
He's going to go there in Snyder.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to. Yeah, you have to go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like Joey. I mean, Joey lives this nomadic.
Which he's getting right into that industry because it's not a very big industry to get into.
You know, Joey's having fun with it, and he gets to go to all these shows, and he gets to meet all these celebrities, and he gets to hunt with all these people, and it's a lot of fun. But he wouldn't be able to have a family like me, and a kid and a wife and a dog and a house and a mortgage. Like, he wouldn't be able to do all of that.
No.
And then also that. I mean, it wouldn't line up.
I don't think it would work. He's just a 21-year-old kid out there having fun.
But I would say one thing, like, I give Joey a lot of credit is what I'm trying to say. Like, if I would go back in time and, if I was some 19-year-old kid fresh out of high school, I wish I would have just went for it,
That, right. And that, like, I guess I wasn't aware that those opportunities were there. Like,
I didn't either.
The guy we're watching, he was Jim Shockey's cameraman, and now he's got his channel might even be bigger than Jim Shockey's.
They weren't really there when we were 18 years old, because 12 years ago or
they were there. We just didn't know about them.
And they were out west.
Yeah, it was just
there wasn't a lot of.
It was all the big names.
It was all Midwest to west.
There wasn't a lot here. I mean, there was a couple guys here, but like Cody was out with Jim Shockey in Canada, and they were filming out there, and some of the guys that were filming with Mark Jury was all Iowa.
I mean,
Illinois,
look at Bone Collector. Look at Michael Waddell. He started as a cameraman.
Did you listen to that Hunter?
I did.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I really enjoyed that
awesome.
one.
I enjoyed that one a lot too.
Yeah.
Did you listen to that one,
No.
Hunter? It just kind of talks about his like upcoming with Realtree and how he did it, and it was pretty cool.
Man, they get the best guys.
Yeah.
They get the best guests, and it really opens your eyes to who these freaking people are.
I wonder,
Like Chris Brackett.
well, like, I wonder, I don't know. I
Say
know
it,
they've talked
say
about,
it.
no, I'm trying to phrase it properly. I wonder how many of the guests they pay and how many of the guests are doing it for free. Because I was told that all those big guests, they come with money. Like, no, even if they're saying, hey, man, you know, it's good seeing you again. Like, thanks for that $5,000 check.
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
not
like,
doing that for free.
right.
There's
So,
no
like,
way.
They're paying these guys. They got to be.
But then again, it's publicity because it's a whole nother audience they're getting in front of.
It's surprising to me. They do have good guests and they do have a good podcast and, like, they have good viewers, but their subscriber number isn't as big as I would think it would be. I mean, it's 5% of THP's. They have 20,000 subscribers. THP has 700,000. Like their subscriber number is actually very small compared to how big I think it should be.
It is weird. We talk about THP on the same level as a lot of these other bigger channels, but the THP's reach and level is just so much.
That's what I was just gonna say. You can't judge. Like THP is its own.
Them and Seek
genre.
One, and
Yeah.
there's a couple big ones that big.
You will never see a channel blow up as big as Seek One and THP ever again, in my opinion.
So it's funny to me.
Not in
'cause
the hunting space.
No.
There are a few channels that are not as known to people that are just as big, but they don't fly in the same
Yeah,
circle.
who
Like
was that
Leatherwoods
guy?
Outdoors.
Who was that guy
He's
that
a
was
Pennsylvania guy. He's got a channel that's got like
So who's the dude we were
almost
talking
a million
about
subscribers.
the other day?
Hunter?
Every one
No,
of his
Leatherwood
videos.
Outdoors.
So every one of his videos
That
is a
one.
thumbnail, him just staring at the camera like this.
Oh,
Who was that guy?
he hangs out with Kirk Price.
What's that?
But all his videos had 1 million views.
Yeah,
1 million.
yeah.
Who's
Who's
just
that?
some kid.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the same thing.
Well, there's Braden Price is one of them.
That might be the guy.
No.
But there's another one.
We talked about it the other day.
I'll look. I can find it in 2 seconds on YouTube because he
Yeah.
hangs out with Kirk Price, who used
So he
to
just
be
kind
on
of
the
makes like
Untamed.
dumb hunting
Yeah,
videos.
yeah.
And his thumbnail's
Yeah, but-
always like wherever he's at, but he's like staring at the camera.
yeah,
like
yeah.
a
No, I
stupid
know who you're
face.
talking about. And once Caleb finds it,
He
know,
probably has like 500,000
But
subscribers.
no, he's got like probably close to 1 million. He started his YouTube channel way back before YouTube was even a thing, and that's
Kendall
Yep.
Gray. Kendall Gray.
Kendall Gray.
Yeah,
yeah.
Kendall.
Who is this guy?
I mean, just honestly, he was some random like vlogger at first, and then like he kind of got into like I wouldn't even say hunting industry. He just kind of like does like outdoorsy stuff.
Like Braden Price is the
Yeah.
same way.
Well,
Like,
and Flair's the same way. So one of the Guggen dudes.
like let's
Yeah.
blow up a camper and then let's go mud with our side by side. Let's go shoot a bear. Like,
Yeah.
it's
they're
all over
they're
the
more like
place.
Yeah.
influencer vloggers that happen to hunt once in a
Yeah.
while.
It makes me wonder if their audience is younger kids. Like
It's got to
It
be.
has to be.
you know what I mean? Like
It has
like
to
high
be.
school age kids. Like, oh man, these guys. You know.
Yeah.
One of these days, we're gonna have our little cousins on this podcast so we can ask them about these because they'd
They
be the
wear-
perfect people to ask. They're how old are they? 13,
12 to
and
14.
15.
Yeah.
I will say, and I know you guys don't like it, that dude, you got to get on TikTok.
We tried.
We
got,
have.
We got banned.
Dude,
Because you can't show any killing.
Put these on TikTok.
It was before the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The podcast.
Yeah, we would show like a doe getting shot, and they'd be like, "You have now
You can't-
Or just a
received
trophy
30-day
picture.
ban."
Yeah,
you know?
you
Trophy
can't
picture.
show any kind of dead deer. or
We do.
anything like
I mean,
that.
we do have TikTok. We have TikToks for
But I'm-
Siman Brothers Outdoors and the. Trail
But what
Cam
I'm
page.
getting at is the younger generation, as much as I hate to say it, like we probably think like IG and like Facebook is like where it's at. Not necessarily Facebook, but like IG is probably where we think it is for social media. But like anybody 20 and under, it's TikTok.
And apparently, Facebook's not a thing with kids anymore.
No.
At all. High
No.
school kids.
So
Nobody
this
has a
is-
Facebook.
so
No.
this is
old people. It's us.
Yeah.
But there's a catch-22 here, and I've talked about this with Isaac before.
This is true.
They're
I know
not
what he's
worth
gonna bring up.
anything. They're not working.
You don't
they're
think
not,
so? Oh,
No,
sorry,
they're
just said
no, you're fine. Their
Money-wise.
money-wise income is worth nothing. That you can get 100,000 subscribers under the age of 18, make it 20 cents. They're not worth anything. They
You're
have
saying-
no monetary value.
So what's that? The RPM or whatever it's called?
Yeah, like if you have videos geared towards kids or a large audience that is children, it is worthless.
Really?
Worthless.
Well,
didn't
not
say that.
worthless,
Because, like,
but their per view dollar amount that they get,
Yeah.
like that we get from YouTube,
So like gaming channels.
is way less.
There's
than
gaming
ours.
channels that I follow. I don't watch them, but I follow them on like Reddit and stuff because they talk about their metrics. They talk about this and that. They have 1 million subscribers. They make like $4,000 a year because the kids don't. They're not worth anything.
Really?
They're not worth anything. Our audience is 60-year-old guys. They're worth a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Middle-aged males
Yeah.
is the highest demographic. So if you have a lot of middle-aged males that watch your videos, that's when you're going to get the most money
which
per.
we all do, yeah.
Which our
Right.
content
Yes.
is catered.
So like,
towards
there's
them.
a lot of guys that have, And obviously, like, do you check when you make here? This is perfect for this podcast. When you're putting your videos on YouTube, do you check the "this is okay for children"?
No.
Me neither. So, because if you violate that like one time,
You get screwed.
death penalty.
Yeah.
Death penalty. So. Our videos aren't even shown to younger accounts to begin with. Ours can't, and we're not even really that bad, but like our videos can't. We drink some beer and we cuss, so like they're not for children to begin with.
It has a lot to do with that SEO, the Google stuff that Luke's into. It's because the middle-aged males buy stuff. When they see an ad, they buy something. Yeah. When a kid sees an ad, they'll knock off a million ads and never buy a thing.
Yeah.
But the middle-aged males will buy stuff.
After having Aaron Olson on, we did like the Amazon affiliate account and started putting some links on our thing. And it's funny, there was like someone clicked on one of the links in our video. I can't remember what video it was, and they clicked on like the batteries link to buy like Amazon basic batteries, and they bought a $60 pack of batteries, and then they went and they bought a marsupial bino harness, and we got like $5.
That's pretty cool.
They got $5 because some guy clicked on the link and bought 2 things, and we got $5. Like, wait a minute, like this is like what does that even mean? I didn't do anything. He clicked the link.
That's affiliate marketing, which we haven't really got into a lot, but we started to. We started putting some links in our videos.
Actually, only this stuff, like all the stuff that's in this room, I have.
Yeah, all our podcasts.
I don't know how to do that.
Hey, buy some cameras. Buy some Panasonic.
Yeah, that would be really sweet if you guys want to buy some Panasonic cameras. But yeah, I don't know how to do the marketing. Like our channel's not geared for that, anyways. It's not good for it because we don't hawk a product or a certain thing. Ours are just entertainment videos.
And our links are to show what products we use. So if they want to buy a switchboard or a camera or a lens. Yeah, but we're not really hawking it towards people.
No. It's one of those, and this we can get into like the YouTube differences a little bit, but like I don't have a hard time saying it on the podcast because this is a sit down and please like and subscribe. But I can't, if I'm making a deer hunting video with music and all this stuff, I can't put in there somewhere in the middle, oh, hey guys, while you're at it, please like and subscribe and follow my, like it just feels so unnatural to what I'm watching. But I know cinematic stuff isn't your cup of tea, so
no.
Which we're trying to get more into that, and like you said, you guys kind of do the more live action type.
Yeah. No, I guess to answer your question, the cinematic stuff is not. It's not something that I enjoy to watch.
So you don't like this? What we're watching right here?
No, I wouldn't even say. I wouldn't say that it's cinematic. No, I really like the over the shoulder kind of stuff. That's what I like.
Like pinhoti.
Like Well,
I guess you're not a turkey hunter guy,
but I'm not a turkey guy.
He's really good at all his videos he's got a GoPro mounted on on his shoulder for his turkey hunting.
I love the over the shoulder stuff. I love like the run and gun kind of stuff. Obviously I love the mobile stuff. I hate like the box blinds and like if you've got a redneck on your property, or if I'm watching a YouTube video and I see a redneck or even like an elevated blind, I'm turning it off.
Wow.
Well, so a lot of our videos have those. But I will never watch one.
Dude,
as somebody else's, I'll never watch.
I'm telling you, I'm not.
Because I have no interest in it.
Like the Drury stuff these days is it's the same. It's bad. It's real bad.
I'm not watching
Bomar, your buddy, Josh Bomar.
My buddy.
Every video he's in and it's bad because he doesn't he's got like 5 cameras mounted in his redneck, and he's in like every video is him opening and closing a window. Like he's always like just right.
Dude, I don't know.
But I'll use him to kill a deer if I have to.
Yeah.
When
I'm watching YouTube, I like seeing a story. I don't like just seeing the success. I like seeing the journey of what went on. And a lot of the stuff I watch is Western hunting. So I like seeing that whole journey. And there's some channels that do it good, and there's some channels that don't do it.
Honestly, I think like to describe where I would love my channel to eventually go in the editing atmosphere is like obviously like a Seek 1 kind of style. They're not, I wouldn't say that they're...
I mean, they got some cinematic stuff.
Yeah, I would say now, but like...
He's really dove into that in the last couple of years.
But like
the music and the
slow... He's got a full-time editor.
Yeah.
The music and the slow motion and the 60 frame a second stuff.
He's not doing that.
Well, he might be.
Somebody he pays is doing that.
No, I think Drew actually does most of their editing. I thought
it's got to be someone close to the heart because their videos are very.
Yeah.
I mean, what else is Lee doing besides chasing deer around?
chasing giants. Did you see that? Not to get off a rabbit hole. But
No, we're loud.
Did you see that? I don't know what it was, Instagram story or something, where he posted a picture of like a base of a shed and was like hunting the biggest deer of my life next year.
No.
I'm like, how can you one up what you just killed this year?
Did you pick up on our last I don't know how much of our last podcast you listened to, but did you pick up on what Isaac said?
Oh, I texted you about it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Listen, my memory's bad. I got a baby on the way. I'm going to claim that for every time I'm not on the ball mentally.
I texted you and was like, "Where is it?"
Yeah,
but we are in the extended suburb of a pretty big city that offers some very good urban deer hunting. So it wouldn't be out of the ordinary to see him around here.
No,
not particularly here, but within an hour or two of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't say here.
Did he have a thermal drone in the back?
That's a whole nother conversation.
I don't know if I don't necessarily agree with the drone thing. I think that he has so many people out there that are looking for him that I think that's more.
So when you have such a huge audience like he does, I don't know, he has almost 1 million subscribers, right? Or over 1 million.
I think there might be one of the largest.
Yeah. But anyways, he's got so many people, and all these people look for a little bit of recognition. So if they have a 200-inch buck that they know is using this little urban woods, and they send it to him, and he recognizes that, and he talks to him, and they get so much pride out of that.
That's how he killed the deer in Ohio.
That's how he kills all his deer.
Yeah. The deer that he killed this year in Ohio that was like, what, 230 or whatever it was? Somebody sent him a video of that deer.
Just some random person.
Some random dude sent him a video on Instagram and was like, hey, I think that you might want to hunt this deer.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. What I'm saying.
How nice would that be?
That'd be cool.
What I'm saying is, if you got that kind of publicity, that kind of following, that kind of income, your livelihood depends on it. You have to kill a 200-inch buck every year. In a state like Ohio, why are you not flying a thermal drone? It's so easy.
Well, I'm not saying I don't think he has the time, is what I'm getting at. But I'm not saying that somebody else.
I'm just
so backstory for the audience.
He's just an example because he kills big deer.
We're going off something we talked about before, that we are convinced that a lot of these big time hunters, and maybe not Leos, maybe not Sequan, is using thermal drones to find big deer, especially in these urban lots. So they use a thermal drone, find that there's a big deer using this area, and then they go in and hunt it.
Which is not illegal.
It's perfectly legal.
Ohio,
in
Ohio, it is perfectly legal.
You can legally fly over whoever's place, whoever's property, and check out whatever.
And we've seen the capabilities of these drones, and we know the capabilities of these drones.
5 minutes is all it takes. 5 minutes. You'll find him. Wherever he's at, you'll find him. I'm telling you, it's
which
that
is
easy.
Incredible. And the ODNR and all the DNRs are going to eventually do something about it.
They have to.
Yeah,
have to.
I want them to. I want them to be able to be used for recovery. And I think you have to sign an agreement with that company. That company will be underneath laws to say, "Hey, I'm coming to help this guy find his deer. If I don't find it, he can't hunt for X amount of whatever it is."
I think you're exactly right. It has to be like Alaska, where you have the fly.
You fly that day, you can't hunt.
You can't hunt. Yeah.
I
think it should be like a 12, 24-hour rule, where if you fly a drone and that baby lands, you can't hunt for 12 to 24 hours.
I was talking to Nick about it today. I think we probably will have. Did we run out of propane, by the way? I think.
Yeah, well, that's why it's getting a little cold.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, we'll take a break in a second. But I was talking to Nick about it today because of Chris, his desire to want to do it and his proximity to us, and how we can help him film some videos and he can do some flying for us. I probably will have him out to do a preseason survey, middle September, late August. Fly a couple of our farms.
They say you're not supposed to do that, though.
Deer herd analysis.
No, I'm saying that time of year they say you're not supposed to do it because of the foliage.
Well, bean fields will be.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can fly at midnight.
Yeah, we can do it at night.
Yeah.
We can go up at midnight, fly and find them all, and just watch the fields. I think it would be cool, but I told Nick I'm not comfortable doing it during the season.
I'm not comfortable.
Because when he came here and flew when we did our podcast, I wouldn't let him cross the road. I'm like, you're not crossing the road because I'm hunting tonight, and I
respect
feel like
you for that.
I don't want to know where that deer is.
Yeah, I would feel like a shitbag if I knew he's bedded 72 yards from my fucking stand. I would feel like that would be.
People don't quite understand how easy it is to find these deer.
No, with
the thermal camera. Yeah,
5 minutes so you can find any deer within 2 miles of here.
Our first experience with it was 2021. The sheriff's department came here to do a training with the fire department.
Yeah, so we did
a
joint
lost
training.
firefighter training. The drone found the guy. The crews went in, found him, packaged him, brought him out.
That's pretty cool.
And then afterwards, the operator, he's like, "You guys want to see this, right? You guys want to see what's going on?" I'm like, "Sure." So he flew up in the air. He found this deer, and he found the deer that I killed, which Matt sets up there, and 2 other bucks in 2 minutes. And we
in a bean
watched him.
field.
We were sitting in here, and we watched on the screen as he was like half a mile away, watching these deer feed. You can see their racks, you can see everything. Just feeding in the field. It's incredible.
We haven't seen it in person, but apparently when these deer are in velvet, you can see their antlers on the thermal.
Yeah, and this was this was summertime.
That makes sense.
This was August, maybe.
Blood running through it.
Yeah, and we did have a little bit of trouble finding the victim, the downed firefighter, with the trees. He would have to change the angle, fly around. Now, their drone is bigger. The sheriff's department, they have like 7 drones now, but their drone was bigger than the one Chris was using.
That drone they were using was bigger, but these drones that everyone's using now,
Better
the
now,
30T, they're more advanced in every way than that drone was.
We were above here, and we zoomed. I think I probably said this on that drone podcast, but we zoomed in from here with the zoom lens, and I could see that a guy was in front of his camper drinking a
mile away
Sierra Nevada beer. I could read the label in front of his camper. Like, you could get into some real trouble with those things.
Oh,
like,
my.
It's just unbelievable.
So I would love for a lobby organization to start lobbying to get them outlawed somehow, or at least make rules for them.
Regulated better.
Yeah, not outlawed, regulated.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think that they should be used for recovery purposes, or like what you were saying, like maybe a deer analysis before hunting season.
They have like a 10-day cutoff, kind of like bait. Some states you're allowed to bait 10 days prior, but then you got to get it out of there. If you want to fly around and look for deer in the off season, I think I'm okay with that.
And I'd love to see the interpretation of the law, because I know the law used to be you were not allowed to aid yourself in hunting by using a drone, and all this stuff that they're doing and they're saying is legal is aiding you in hunting.
Yeah.
Well, it's up. So like
it's all up for interpretation.
Like Chris said, and some of those other guys said, it's up for interpretation. Some game wardens potentially might say, no, you helped find that deer. You know,
before you killed it.
Right. It all depends on, and he's not the one hunting, so he don't care.
Yeah, I hate getting into the drone argument because we always argue about it, because I'm strongly against it.
Me too.
I'm strongly for if you shoot a deer and you hit it and you want to track it and find it dead, that's perfectly fine. But then a lot of people were finding them alive still and going out and
that's where I have a problem with it. If that baby lands and then you go out and pursue that animal.
Yeah, because you know exactly where it is.
That's a no-no.
And apparently it's perfectly legal to go do that.
And to be honest with you
guys.
Once
the drone lands, he said, like, once the drone's on the ground, I'm out of here.
And to be honest, I know for a fact there's people, like, lost a lot of respect. I know for a fact there's people that fly them babies up in the air before they go hunting, look around, okay, he's in this section, come back, fly down, and then go hunt that area.
And that's what I was getting at, and I'm not saying Lee does it, but he's a good example just because he kills a 200-inch buck every year. If you're a guy that needs that to survive, and it's your thing, Josh Bomar.
Oh,
I mean, come on! Like, you're telling me that guy has a $75,000 slow motion camera. He can buy a $9,000 drone to see if his deer.
And I keep an eye on it because I would love to get one just for video purposes, but they're down to like $7,000.
Yeah, the
for
price,
that drone. It's
the
like
price keeps dropping. Like every month, they're getting cheaper. And
Amazon,
cheaper
I'm gonna have one on our doorstep tomorrow morning. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
Let's pause. All right.
We're back.
We're back from turning the heater on, taking a break. We're not going to talk about drones anymore. Let's just leave it.
We've talked about drones enough.
Like 5 podcasts we've gone into drones. So we'll just. You want to talk about CJ Alexander? Because that's what we talked about that in a lot of podcasts.
I don't give a shit about that.
Yeah,
So here, funny story.
I'm in.
So you know how we did that podcast, not with him, but just like a quick little 20-minute segment about like what our opinions were on the situation.
Yeah.
Not once did we accuse anybody. Not once did we joked around about it, but like not one time we were like, we have evidence that he poached it. We were just like, it's interesting, He messaged us.
Really?
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, man.
He messaged us and lost his mind.
Oh, man. You should have,
I should show you guys the
You should
message.
talk about it. Like,
dude, I'm telling you.
Is it better for our podcast than yours? Because we can put it on ours if you want.
It's a book, dude.
He's been going on the defensive on social media a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen that he was on a couple other podcasts. Nothing's really been filed yet, I don't believe.
No.
Well, as anybody knows, these poaching cases take years.
Yeah.
The Bomar case took, 10 years.
Yeah, but that's also Josh Bomar. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Same with the Chris Brackett case. It took years.
I mean, I guess you couldn't call Josh guilty per se, but he lost his case. I mean, he had to pay money and can't hunt Nebraska.
But I think he just kind of, from all the, I don't want to say research, not saying that I've done research, but from all the hearsay that I've heard, I think he just paid it off just to be done with it. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about a guy that has millions of dollars.
Yeah, which if we had the means, we would do the same.
Yeah, and
thing.
like if they told me 70, if you had millions of dollars and they're like, yeah, for 70 G's we'll leave you alone. Yeah, here you go. Here's 70 G's. You know.
Let me get on with my life.
What happened with your buddy Muley Freak, your Western guy?
I think he was found that he wasn't in the wrong.
Okay.
From what I believe.
'Cause I know that was a thing for a hot minute. He got brought
And
up.
the problem is, as soon as you get accused, you're guilty.
You're
according
always
to everybody.
see. That's the thing with CJ. He'll always be a poacher.
Which
whether he poached it or not.
Well, there's two guys in the industry that have received tickets and got in trouble that don't have a bad light.
Who?
Whitetail Adrenaline, Jared Scheffler,
He
3 times.
poached?
He's got 3 tickets. Well, for hunting on property he's not allowed to be on.
Huh?
being over the border or something like that.
Lee Lukowski shot deer without a tag.
Really?
Yeah, he admitted to it. He called the game warden, had to pay a fine, couldn't hunt in that one state
Gritty.
for a couple years. And Gritty, yeah.
Gritty, too.
That's Gritty's another
If you
one.
watch Gritty.
So it's all about who you are.
Yeah.
If you are a guy that's likable, Mike Tyson's still in movies. He raped a girl.
Yeah.
He went to prison for 4 years for
Michael
raping a
Jackson's
girl.
music's still on the radio.
Yeah, I know, right? These guys are guilty of really bad things. Doesn't matter. People like them.
Yeah.
So no one I shouldn't say that. A lot of people like Josh Bomar, but
got a
Josh
point.
Bomar's a hateable guy, so people are going to dive on that.
The court of public opinion is very fickle.
Yeah,
when it comes to who gets blacklisted and who doesn't.
Yeah, it's not fair.
No.
No, not at all.
All right. 2 things I want to talk about. This is good. We're in the hot topics now. We're not talking about YouTube no more.
Okay.
So I think everyone at this table has the same feeling. If you're hunting here at home in Ohio, home farms, permission farms, wherever, what does your hit list look like? Like, what is it that you're going to shoot?
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
Or-
both you guys.
Go ahead.
Honestly, like I always tell myself, what would you shoot opening day, and like what would make you happy? And honestly, like this may sound cliche, but I'm always shooting for like that 150 mark. Now, if it's a property, but I fall kind of in a different category than you guys, I would say. And there's no hate behind this. It's just how life has been handed to me. Like, I don't have any property that is like family, that is like a really close family friend, like, coworker. Like, every property that I hunt is knock on door permission. I could lose it tomorrow. So I wish I would say that like I wouldn't shoot a 150-inch 3-year-old. But if a 150-inch 3-year-old walked by me on a permission piece that I can't manage, that I can't put food plots in, that 10 other guys are hunting, I'm shooting that deer. Now, I do feel that I shouldn't say eat a lot of tags. I've only ate 2 tags in the last 8 years. But I eat a tag every once in a while because I get kind of arrogant and too cocky where I'm like, I need to kill X, Y, and Z caliber of deer. Like I did this year. Like this year it was like 160 or bust. And I did end up missing that 160, but I had multiple deer that were well into the boon that I was chasing on property that was by permission. 10 other dudes were hunting it. Like just stupid stuff like that.
I don't think I can argue with that answer at all.
No.
Because I don't think, even here at the farm, I don't know if I'd pass a 150-inch 3-year-old.
Oh, hell
I
no.
don't want to. But I definitely would shoot the 125-inch 5-year-old, though.
No, I would too.
You know what I mean? Like, if I had a pile of sheds, like Isaac did it. That deer on the wall right there is 6.
107
Look how small
inches.
that deer
That
is.
deer right there?
That was
The one that's on the plaque, the skull
the
mount.
Euro mount.
Oh,
With the-
over
with the
there.
shed, yeah.
Gotcha.
We watched him for 4 years. He just
Really?
kept getting smaller.
What's he got on? Is that a club?
Yeah, it's like clubbed
all,
out.
Yeah, it's
And there was like 3 points off that club, and he broke them all
Broke
off.
'em
I shot
off.
it January, 17th, 20. Well,
Yeah,
it was 2023, but it was the 2022 season.
Yeah.
I passed him in 2020. No, I passed him in 2021.
The year
when he
bef-
was probably 140. I passed him, which looking back, I shouldn't have done
And then
that.
he went downhill.
So that shed up there is from 2 years prior.
Yeah.
So Caleb passed him the next year after that shed. and
He
then
was
I killed
beautiful
him
that
when he
next
was
year.
older.
He actually might not have been. He would have been 140 if he was equal. He had a 3-point side, just a G1, G2, G3.
And-
so it probably took. So score wise, it was probably less, but his one side was beautiful.
So I'll go into my answer to that. We handicap ourselves a lot just hunting our farm here. So I haven't deer hunted for whitetails in Ohio anywhere but pretty much within 2 miles of where we're sitting right here anywhere else. So
Yeah.
we're pretty much handicapped to what's here, just because that's what I enjoy to do. I hate going to door knock. I hate driving to hunt.
Dude, I hate it too, and that's all I can do.
I just love hunting the home farm. So we have our hit list. We know what bucks are coming in. Once in a blue moon, we get an outside buck coming in.
And then you miss him 3 times with a rifle at 70 yards on video for the whole world to see.
Yeah, that's what Caleb did. But anyways, when we were hunting that deer, so he's a 107-inch deer. He was our number 1 hit lister when I was hunting him in January.
So this deer was actually our number 1, and he disappeared November 14th.
Yeah, so he was gone.
The year after he was a year bigger than this, and he probably was like mid 130s,
So-
maybe close.
So in
November
January,
14th, gone.
in January when I was hunting, that was a specific buck I was hunting for. He was the biggest one we had pictures of. So and he was 107 inches.
There's nothing wrong with hunting the biggest deer on your property. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
We had a lot. It was cool because we had sheds. We actually found that that shed that's up there that I found. I actually found it a mile away on a different farm.
Really.
But he was using both. We had like videos of him in the summertime in Velvet on that farm, and then he'd come here. And like I said, we watched him for 3 or 4 years, knew a lot about him. Lots of encounters, lots of passing, lots of trying to kill. I had him at like 50 yards, but he was down in a ravine that year, the year Isaac shot him, and I couldn't get a shot. I mean, there was just a lot of good hunts with him. And then Isaac, I still can't believe the day you killed him, he showed up so early.
Mm-hmm. Just came in during the day. Late season January hunting in a blind, bait pile, everything. He just came right in. That was it.
Bam.
Yeah.
So I don't really go out searching for the big bucks, so my hit list is usually a lot smaller than what's up, because we are friends with a lot of people that won't shoot anything unless it's over 150, but they're out hunting 5 different properties in 5 different towns and driving hunting. Blah, blah. I don't get the enjoyment out of that, so that's not how
Now, I won't say that, like, 150 is my goal, right? Like, but I'm not going to say that I would pass a solid 140. You know what I mean? Like, it's all situational, like, but my goal would be that 150 inch mark. But I'm also, as much as I say that, I'm not an inch guy either. Like, that's just my goal.
I'm an experienced guy.
Like, that's my goal. But if I have a really good hunt, like you were just saying, experience. Like, if I have a really good hunt and it's a solid deer that I know of, or like whatever, 140 inch deer, whatever, 135 inch deer, and it's just like the coolest thing in the world, like, I'm probably gonna shoot that deer.
I picked up my bow in West Virginia this year on a deer that probably scored 80, but he was a 4-point, no brows, just G2,
That's a
G1s and
giant
G2s, big wide 4-point. Mature, like he had up here, his body would be equivalent to probably a 4-year-old, just a very mature deer. But we were down in West Virginia hill country,
big forks.
and I was archery hunting, big forks on each side. And I picked my bow up, and I grunted at him, and it was going down if he came in. No, he didn't, but I would have killed that deer 100%.
So, like, out of state, my
so that's what I'm going to next. That's what I want to go to next. So that's our standard here. The second you hit the road, what happens?
2.5-year-old all day.
Mine sits at my buck from Indiana 2 years ago.
So yeah, you've set your bar.
That's pretty much my bar.
I mean, that's a dream out of state hunt, like a 110 inch deer, out his ears, big 8-point. Like,
I'm shooting that for sure, but I'm not. I guess I bring it up because, like, this year in Indiana, you guys were killing anything that could happen. Yeah. You guys are just slinging arrows. Like, if it's coming in, we're killing it. And it's not that I like the smallest buck that I've killed in recent times is one of those bucks that's up on that plaque. It was a West Virginia deer. And after that was 2 years ago, I think, and I just realized that I didn't need to kill every time I left anywhere to feel accomplished. I was very happy with that deer, but I've let deer that size, like the one that we had in Indiana this year, pass since, because I'm just trying to get this and up from now on, like the deer Isaac killed.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to move towards that. I didn't feel – plus, I mean – if I would have killed some of those, like if I would have shot that buck in Indiana that I videotaped, you guys heckled me about, I would have had to back that thing out 2 miles in 80-degree weather.
It would have been awful.
It would have been awful.
It's all about the camp atmosphere for me. I always want someone to kill. I don't care if they kill
Matt's
a little
always
four-pointer.
good for that.
But when
our other buddy, Matt.
I love when someone kills. So you guys killed. So pretty much like someone in our camp killed, so we can kind of focus more on larger bucks. So you guys kind of took that burden off of us. I hate when there's a camp and nobody kills anything.
Yeah.
So we didn't kill anything. Someone kills some smaller bucks. Obviously you guys killed a big buck and a small buck. So someone killed and it kind of took that burden off. So we didn't.
I mean, Kevin killed a giant.
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 I mean, I don't know. Like, I know you guys are ragging on Jarrett for shooting that fork, but
no, I'm not ragging on Jared. I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
Kevin shot a giant for
Kevin shot a
public
giant.
land, out of
Oh,
state.
giant. Twice as big as that deer.
I mean, now granted, the situation was, it is what it is.
We've dealt with a lot. Trust me, as video editors, we have dealt on our end, on your end, with a lot of situations where you got to really do your diligence to make it acceptable. Because I've been in some shit shows in my life too. My my best friend shot a 150. He shot it during gun season through the face, and then we had to piece this video together.
Yeah.
We've been there. It's not a knock on anyone.
And we can go off on another tangent when it comes to this. So we film everything. You guys film everything.
We're stuck with it.
So all the ugly stuff
life.
that happens, it gets shown. You guys see that. A lot of these people that don't film their hunts and just tell the stories and blah blah. Here's a buck I shot. You don't get to see the ugliness.
Well, you've been.
You don't know that they missed 4 deer.
Yeah.
You don't know that they shot that deer in the ass and it only bled out because they hit an artery. You don't know any of these things.
No name dropping, but you've dealt with this when you've gone out west with groups of guys.
Yes.
And every night they're coming back to camp minus an arrow because they're slinging, wounding, hitting.
Yeah,
they're not filming, so none of it matters.
Yeah, I won't name any names or state or anything like that. But I went on an out of state trip years ago with a group of people that I won't ever hunt with them again because they weren't filming, but they were doing a lot of stuff where you're like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Hunting over the public land border, shooting all this stuff.
The camera keeps you honest, man.
Oh, I know it.
It keeps you honest. It makes you check you got to dot your T's and check your I's, or however the saying goes, because if you fuck up bad, it's on video, and not only can you get in trouble, but then the whole world, it just keeps you honest.
And I think it helps me as a hunter too, because when I'm videotaping, I know all my friends are going to see this, and then eventually all of our fans are going to see this. So all right, maybe I'm not going to take that 45-yard shot through the woods or through the tree limbs while the deer's walking because I'm going to catch shit for it. Someone that doesn't film, they might just take that shot.
They can do it every time.
Yeah, they can take that shot.
How many deer do we find shed hunting dead?
A lot.
You know what I mean? From who knows what.
And how many deer, get away because of the camera? That's another thing,
Sickening. Don't ever want to talk about it.
Like
I've had that deer right there is alive because of a camera.
Yeah,
Well,
a couple times.
He's dead now, but I never got to kill him because of a camera.
Yeah.
My trip out west this year, I was trying to film my antelope hunting the best I could by myself. Impossible, by the way. If I see a self-filmed archery antelope hunt, I would love to see it happen. And I spooked countless antelope because I was trying to film it with a head camera, set my camera up on a tripod, stalk them and stuff.
Yep.
Impossible.
I mean, that buck I missed this year during gun season. You know how hard it is? Like, filming bow hunting is easy. You can film the deer until it's 50 yards away, zoom out, position.
Easy when it comes to a filming standpoint.
Yeah, draw and
not
shoot.
easy when it comes to a hunting.
Yeah, but the filming standpoint. When you're gun hunting, you can shoot 200 yards, but try filming a deer 200 yards through the trees.
Unless it's standing there in a field.
Yeah, if you're hunting in the woods and that buck's moving through the timber, forget trying to get that on film properly. It's impossible. You either got to make a decision whether you're going to pull up your gun and shoot or you're going to get it on film. I mean, you've been there.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish that I wouldn't have picked up the camera. Sometimes,
but I don't.
I feel like I'm in this rabbit hole, but I truly enjoy it.
Me too. Yeah. I don't have any desire to hunt without a camera anymore.
Yeah,
it's just part of who I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my best friends in the world that are on that board are the exact opposite. And that's fine.
They won't film it.
Jay, can't get him to film. Nick, he'll let me film him anytime I want, but he'll never take a camera on his own. Dylan won't let us film him or bring a camera of his own. There's lots of guys up there that we hang out with every day, but they won't. They're just not into it, and that's fine. It makes it go around, which is nice.
Yeah.
Your guys' sponsor list. When you guys have your podcast, you have all your sponsors. Are you actively seeking sponsors? Are you emailing companies, doing that kind of thing? Are you waiting to see what comes to you? Are you seeking out the ones that you enjoy using? How do you go about the sponsor game?
When we first started 5, 6, 7 years ago, however long it was, I would say that we were dumb, young, early 20s, just trying to get anybody and anything to give you a 30% coupon code to be quote-unquote pro staff, but yet they're still making money off of you.
Yeah.
But now... No, everything is we will not run a product for anybody if we truly don't use it, like it, or get significant money for it. So, but we've been offered money before and turned it down, honestly. there's some stuff that like we just don't want to run, and like it is what it is, you know.
We talked about this with Aaron a lot. It would be hard for a group like ours, with the size of our group, the amount of guys we have there in front of the camera and doing stuff, to have any sponsorship actually work out. Like, you know, is First Light going to give us 10 suits?
No.
No. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, then we come film at the shop and everybody's wearing God knows what camo. There's no way.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I mean,
it's impossible for you guys to have a paid sponsorship, in my opinion, because they would have to pay you X amount of dollars plus give you $20,000 in merch, and it's like that's not a win for them. Yeah.
They're like we always say, we don't ever seek them. Sometimes they try to come out and it just doesn't work. That's not to say if First Light offered us 10 suits, we wouldn't take it. I always say if First Light wants to offer it, or if Canon Cameras wants to offer it, or Chevy trucks, you know, whatever, whatever,
we'll take it.
Yeah, whichever you are, Spartan cameras, you know, Tacticam, whatever you are, if you're willing to offer something that makes sense for us, we would look into that, because there are certain things where we do utilize only one brand. I mean, we run two cell cameras, Spartan and Tacticam, and we have all of us are running the same.
Here's the perfect example, because everybody, like, you know, it's a common question that we all get probably is like, you know, what's your price? You know, like, and here's my example, Wise Eye. So Wise Eye is one of our partners. Okay, I had 18 that I bought with my own money before we were partnered with them. So it's like, that's my example to everybody. Like, I'm not going to, you know, personally, I think Tacticams are junk, you know, and that's just my personal opinion.
They have gotten better, but there's a very big downside to Tacticams.
Like,
you get what you pay for.
I got tired of spending $100 on a camera that would last me 6 months and die or not. And Tacticam, not to knock them, but like, they don't send pictures. We've
dealt with it.
The deer I killed 2 years ago walked in front of a Tacticam camera, like looked it square in the face. It made that click noise because it took his picture. He got nervous and kind of bounded like 40 yards, and then I shot him. But like, I never got a picture of that deer sent to my phone.
We actually have a video on our channel of Nick smashing a Tacticam
with a log. He got so pissed at
it because it was the same situation. It didn't send a picture of one of his hitless bucks in front of his stand like the day before. And he never went and hunted because he never got a picture over there. Went and checked it, and the picture was on the card. It just never sent it. So he smashed it with a log. This is probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm not married to any of these companies. I mean, I do enjoy my Spartans, but I cannot spend $350
on one trail camera.
That's the thing, though. Like, you got to be careful. Like, you don't want to get tossed into this umbrella of you can only use, and umbrella is probably not the right term.
I mean, you've seen the camera. We have how many different brands of cameras?
Yeah, and what's nice about Wise Eye is they only offer, and we'll just use Wise Eye as an example. They only offer cell cameras, so like I can run whatever non-cell cams I want.
Yeah.
You know, granted, they don't, and we've had this conversation with them. They don't want us like
pushing other
brands, but like I run a ton of Brownings on video mode.
Yeah, why not? Because they're amazing.
They're the best camera for video
by far.
Yeah,
by far.
I've probably got like 15 Brownings, and it's like, you know, it's cool because I don't have to. You know, but some companies.
We're open. By the way, we are open to changing our cell camera game this year. I'm willing to sell everything and restart.
You should try Wise Eye. Give them a try.
We'll talk off camera, I guess, or on camera, doesn't matter. The monthly plan is like kind of the big thing.
$10 a month. See, but the thing is like I'm on the ranch program because you get X amount of like my package deal, which actually for you guys would probably be phenomenal. I pay $6 a camera. And this is for anybody, not just because we're partnered with them.
Right.
I pay $6 a camera, and then I pay $6 for every gig that I use. Yes. And honestly, I run a lot of camera on video, and at the peak, like peak October, November, I might go through a gig and a half, 2 gigs.
On 16 cameras?
So Spartan is kind of that way?
I have 34 Wise Eyes that are on my account.
Wow.
And I go
you make me look like you had me on for your trail camera podcast. I'm a lightweight now compared to you.
I've got a problem.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Do you like cell cameras, or do you want to get rid of them all?
No, I enjoy them. So I'm not a big bait guy. So I think the cell camera got a bad rap because of like, oh, I'm just gonna set it over a bait pile and wait till he shows up and then go hunt.
Like I said, I found 4 today. 4
So,
cell
like-
cams on bait piles.
So like I'm not a bait guy, so I personally like I don't have a problem with cell cams. And like, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that think that, you know, that cell camera kills deer. Bull crap, man. Like I don't believe that one bit.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
I
50-50.
I have never had the opportunity to like, maybe once. I'll take that back. Like maybe one time, the last 3 or 4 years, if I had an opportunity at a deer because I got a picture of him. But it's just like, it's a wild animal. You know how it is. It's like it's so hard to get in
Cell
there.
cams this year showed me how fucking bad at hunting I am. Because every time I was in the woods, I would get a cell camera picture of the buck I was hunting a couple 100 yards away, go in the other direction. Every fucking time.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with cell
Yeah,
cams.
because I would love to switch to something else. So our reveal, I have 2 reveals.
I don't like our situation now, having 2 brands, splitting up money.
We all run
cameras.
our own different cameras, and it's like $36 a month for 2 cameras.
That's not
for
good.
unlimited pictures and stuff.
I pay
For 2 cameras.
Honestly, I pay roughly around $200 a month for 32 or 34 cameras, whatever I told you.
See, I'd be willing to do
just
something like that, split between the 3 of us, or the
yeah.
4 of us. You know what I mean? We could, you know, we're only running like 14 cell cams.
So
in
just
this
roughly,
family.
what are the Wise Eyes cost per camera?
Retail, they're $200, but they run a lot of good sales where you can get them for less than 150.
So around 150. So not
Because
much more.
I would
than
purge
reveals.
every cell camera I have and sell them to buy new.
Yeah, I would sell my reveals tomorrow because
Yeah.
there's nothing special to them,
Nope.
and the monthly fee, it's like $17 or $15.99 a camera or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
per
we
month.
gotta. We will this summer. We're definitely gonna
gotta
figure
figure
out our
this
cell
out.
cam game and streamline it because it's fucking stupid.
We ran stealth cam, Moultrie.
Yeah, Luke got a stealth cam for free, and then Ethan bought a couple Moultries.
And the stealth cam was about worth what it is in the woods.
I
He
think
just
Ethan
left
bought
it
a
in the
couple
woods.
Moultries off of Brandon Juszczyk just because they were for sale on Medina County.
Yeah, he was
Hunters.
selling them for like $50 a piece or
Yeah,
something.
and we're like, we're not doing that. It's a
One
waste
of them
time.
still sitting in PA.
Yeah, there's right. It's a mess.
Yeah, we got to streamline that game. So
Yeah.
we will look into Wise Eyes.
Yeah,
So
I'll talk to you.
Yeah, I'm okay with
off air.
that because as
Yeah.
long as they don't put the coordinates of my fucking camera on the internet.
So we actually
I got that pin mark still, just so you know. Didn't hunt there though.
So let's tell that story because it's hilarious.
All right, so this is perfect. So,
So it's pre-Indiana, probably a month before we go to Indiana. Maybe less than a month.
maybe
No,
more.
it was more than that.
More than a month. So,
So
late
we-
summer.
It was late.
To
summer.
backtrack even farther, we've shared 2 camps together. 2 years in a row, we've shared camp together in Indiana, and you know it's been a very enjoyable time. And I went up and put some cameras up. I put a couple cells and some non-cells, but they went up a little bit beforehand, and they also put up some cell cameras.
But we were cordial to our areas. Nobody
we do.
stepped on
Yeah,
them.
we haven't stepped on our toes at all, anyone's toes at all. But they put up some cell cams, and Matt texted me the one day. I don't even remember how it started, but it was something along the lines of like,
I was just honest with you. I was just like,
God,
hey,
dude,
we got a
We
hammer on.
got a hammer, and then
Yeah.
and like, I don't know if you even sent me a picture of it at
No.
that time.
I
Because,
think I did.
But it was on Facebook.
Well, that's the thing. This was
Not
later.
this was before.
Yeah, so like I kind of knew you had a hammer, but I don't remember whether I honestly don't remember if you sent me a picture of it or not. But eventually, you did your wise
So
eye
you did like a little
Wednesday.
Wise Eye promo
Yeah.
on Facebook, and so it just popped up on our Facebook, and we saw it. So we
was
saw a little Wise Eye
It was
promo.
a video of a velvet 180 16 point smoking a scrape with the latitude and longitude coordinates on the video, and I'm like, no. So I like popped him in the phone, and it just went pinged right like 6 miles from our cabin in Indiana. I'm like, oh my god. So I called everyone in your group. I think I messaged Cromer. I messaged you.
And we didn't even talk about it, but me and Ethan were both sending Caleb messages like, you better tell Matt to take that shit down.
I sent a message to Kevin. Like I was sending everyone a message. Like,
Hold on.
oh my god.
Hold on, let me tell like my version of the story because it's hilarious. So like I said earlier, I've got a very I don't want to say stressful, but like when I'm at work, I can't be playing on my phone. Unfortunately, like it's just how it is. So
That sucks.
I saw you text me or call me. I think you called me and I ignored it. And because I was busy, and then you texted me, and I felt my phone kind of buzz, and I was just like, oh, he must be wanting something. And then immediately you called again, like within a minute. And I remember like thinking like,
what in the world can you want?
There's got to be something wrong. So I answered, and I'm like, hey, I'm at work. What's up? And then you're like, take that down. The coordinates to that deer are on the thumbnail of that video. And we at the time did not know, because here's the thing.
It's just a bunch of numbers and dots and shit.
Well, here's the thing. So those cameras were they weren't even available to the public yet. So Wiseye sent us 10 of their new data cams that they have out now, but during the summer they hadn't released them yet, and they're like, hey, go try these out somewhere. And it was perfect timing. We were just about to go to Indiana, and they have 2 antennas. And their big thing was like, you can put these things in a hole and they'll still get signal. So we're like, we normally got decent signal in Indiana, but we're like, hey, it's big woods. Like, there's some hollers down there. Let's just see what happens. So we all went out there with like little experience to actually having the camera working. We hung them on public. And honestly, like one of the very first videos we got was of that 180-inch deer. And we were so dumb because of the size of the deer, like we didn't pay attention to what was
there's just tunnel vision.
Yeah, like who cares what that little number is underneath it? Little did we know it was coordinates to the camera, which they have fixed since then. And honestly, because of that whole situation, we talked to their engineer, and like we like told him, you got to take.
We don't need that. If it's your camera, you don't need the coordinates.
Because like their argument was, well, we just want to know where your camera's at in case like it gets stolen or it takes a picture. And we're like, just put a little symbol at the bottom of the camera, like a check mark or something, saying that it has GPS signal, and if you need to look it up, you can. Mm-hmm. But since then they have changed that. So the new cameras, they don't do that.
It makes sense if you were an outfitter and you're not sharing, and you need to know, like, say if you're Cody and Kelsey up there in Canada, like you need to know where all these cameras are. That makes sense, but wow.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. But hey,
no, I mean, it's a learning. You wouldn't know it. No one would know, but I just happened to see the dot and the numbers, and I'm like, that's a latitude and longitude.
Who figured it out?
Ethan.
All 3 of us at once.
Right at once.
We all saw it. No, literally,
you can
independently, we all saw it.
So you can go to Hunt Stand, you can go to Onyx, you type those numbers in, and it just like zooms. It keeps zooming and like right to this.
I'd imagine the normal public probably wouldn't see that, but like because of our backgrounds and then all the e-scouting and stuff that I do for out west, like seeing those numbers is normal. Like my buddy that I hunt with out west is always sending me coordinates for pinpoints.
I don't know.
So as soon as I saw the blah 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 degrees, I'm like, those are coordinates right away. I'm like, oh,
and then of course you typed them in, and you're like, oh, that's 5 minutes from where we were staying.
Where that was.
So I think Matt here is more like he does more snooping, I should say, than actually. I don't know. I was proud of myself. The other day I did a good job. I'll get in that story here in a minute. But Matt over here, he found out where we hunt based on drone video from a video he watched, and he went on Google Maps and found the field.
Listen.
That's the field I had the encounter with this buck. Was in that field.
No deer is safe, I promise you. If you're a friend of mine, like I will not step on your toes. I mean, look at Indiana for example. Like I can honestly say that I've never hunted anywhere where you guys want to hunt or etc. But like if some idiot on Facebook posts a picture of a deer or a video and like
we're checking it out.
I'm gonna find out where that deer
I found
is.
a tree. I saw a trail camera video on Facebook the other day, and I found the tree the camera was
100%
in like 10 minutes.
100%.
I found the tree.
Like
I know exactly. I made a pin.
So what happened is how much should I say? The place that I used to hunt that was really good. Now it's not any good. That's just so they were telling me about you guys.
Yeah.
When I was there, and I'm like, who are these guys? Because at the time I didn't know you guys. I watched a couple of your videos, and one of your videos had like a drone flying over, and I seen the layout of your food plot, and I'm like, I'm gonna find where that's at. I spent 10 minutes on Onyx.
Had to be the sea field, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is,
it's a very unique shaped field.
I spent 10 minutes, and I'm like, there it is. There's where their farm is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I mean, it's we. I told you this through some text messages earlier today. I know that a lot of people are going to assume that a lot of our media is from where we're sitting here, because you can't, if you're an Onyx user or this and that, you can find where someone lives right now.
Oh, yeah.
So people can find my house, they can find Isaac's house, they
It's
can find
not
our
hard.
farm.
You just type in a last name.
Yeah, it's not hard at all.
So we try to use that to our advantage. Everything we film, it's not all from right here, but we're going to pretend like it probably, like I told you, we're going to pretend like it's from right here. That way it saves everyone else that we're filming and hunting with.
Yeah.
Their stuff will be safe. Our stuff will possibly not be safe, but people are going to be searching for a deer that doesn't exist.
Well, we haven't chased a buck here at the home farm that was worth somebody coming in from the outside for years anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we chased one this year that was pretty fun.
Normal deer.
Yeah.
Normal deer you can find in any block in Ohio, basically.
Yeah, honestly.
There's some give take. As soon as you go to YouTube, you're going to show your cards at some point.
Yeah,
in
but
time
if
to
we have a
someone.
200-inch deer on camera, nobody's seeing that thing till it's
No,
done.
and I will say,
We
can have some
not seeing it
conversations
till
off air, but I will say that, like, there's deer that we know about, even potentially have sheds from, that we've been hunting for years, that have never seen our YouTube page because they're still alive.
There's quite a few.
They're still alive, and
yeah.
like some of my friends, if I would share, they would kill me. Like there's
Yeah.
stuff like that, and I would love to tell the stories one day, but I can't yet. I just got to wait until either someone else kills them, we kill them, or we find them dead.
Yeah.
And that's
And that's
the way
just
it is.
smart, because
Yeah.
you don't want to be broadcasting.
No.
Yeah.
If you have a 5-yard encounter with a giant buck, you can't show it until you kill that deer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a couple deer that we have. I got videos queued up, ready to go for when finally someone does kill one of these deer that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that, but I'm kind of out of things to talk about on here. I mean, I guess I have a couple things. Maybe your end goal for your guys' thing. I mean, I'm assuming you would love to one day just do it full time, but
I mean, that's
those
everybody's
are-
end goal, yeah. But
that's tough with a group of your size, I
but,
should say,
yeah,
because
it would probably be only like one person's. To be honest,
Right.
Like, to be completely transparent, like, I would probably be the only one that'd be able to do it full time.
Yeah, 'cause
Just because, like,
situation based.
yeah,
to add a second person, you would have to double.
yeah.
To add a third person, you'd have
Yeah.
to triple. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just impossible. to do.
At one point in time, we were making decent money off of it at one point in time, but I've cut back quite a bit. Like we were doing a lot of work. See, that's the thing that people don't realize is everybody thinks that, like, oh, you got a YouTube channel, or oh, you're hunting, blah blah blah. You're just bringing in the money, or you're making money off you hunting. No
way.
You don't make money off the hunt. You make
And then
money.
divide it by 4 or 5.
Yeah, you make money by, like, doing projects, photography, videography for companies, other people, like that stuff. Like,
Diversifying yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
That's a full-time job in itself.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't make nearly as much as we used to. I mean, honestly, at one point, not too long ago, only a couple of years ago, maybe, if I'd have kept going, like, I maybe quit my job, but since then we've really cut back.
And you'd have to get the consistency, and that's the problem.
what do you do during the downtimes?
And what do you do if YouTube just decides,
Well, that's
all right,
the
we're
thing.
not going to monetize
Look at
your
how many
shit.
people have almost been canned just because of that. Seek One got demonetized.
Well, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Every one of our, besides the podcast, every one of our videos gets limited right away, and we
Gets
have
flagged.
to. Yeah, and we have to.
It all started from one video, got flagged, and then now they don't trust. Like, once you have one video gets flagged, they don't trust your
Yep.
your automate. So, like, for a couple of years, we were good. They could just, nothing in this video is bad. It monetizes everything. We got hit with one, and then just compounding. Now they hit every single video. But they reverse them all.
Yeah.
I've got them all reversed over time.
We're at
in
the
YouTube's
protest.
grace,
Yeah.
yeah. Like with us, like all I do is I go through that little checklist of, like, does it have any swear words? Are you showing guns? Like, whatever the checklist is. And as long as I'm transparent and honest, like, we have never been flagged.
The only thing they've ever flagged us on is blood.
Really.
It's just blood.
We fixed the blood, and it's fine.
I try not to show a lot of that just because I know, like, it's a no-no.
Normally it's not a problem. You kill a deer earlier or in October or whatever, like, it doesn't show up as much. But like, one of the big ones was Nick killed his buck in
Snow.
a blowing snowstorm, and everything in the world
So
was
it's white
red.
and red. Yeah,
white and red, and it
Just
hit us
grayed
hard.
out.
Yeah, and I did. That's what I had to do. I had
Yeah.
to take the saturation down to 12
Yeah.
or 17, and it passed. It passed a manual review after that.
We've only ever had one video not pass the manual review.
We got screwed.
And it was a gun hunting video of last year,
Yeah, but weren't you guys like running around with ARs?
Yeah,
That's why.
So that's the reason. So it had drinking in it. It had
you can't
assault
be toting
rifles in
around.
it.
Yeah, you can't be toting around with ARs.
So
this year's video is fine, and it's chugging along perfect, and it's the same video. So basically,
I know the mistake that we made on that video. We uploaded it and went live with it right away. I didn't let it sit for 24 hours, get flagged, and then review it and then go live with it. So I went live with it right away.
It got a lot of views.
16,000 views in 24 hours, and then it got hit hard, and then it didn't pass the manual review. And at that point, I'm hamstrung.
So that video,
so you got to upload your videos, let them get hit by YouTube, counter it. If they come back and say no, you got to delete it, grayscale it, re-upload it. It'll get hammered. Then you got to challenge it, and then it'll usually pass that third time. It'll pass.
So that video,
and then
got
you
screwed
go live with it, and it does fine.
Because we posted it, it got a bunch of views right away because everybody loves the gun hunting, deer camp type stuff, and then it got hit like a week in or something. It got 16,000 views, got hit, and literally now it gets like a view a week.
Yeah.
Because
once YouTube flags it, you're done.
It's done. The only way you can find that video is if you go to our channel and scroll through all our videos and actually find it. It'll never pop up on someone's feed.
We have a pistol hunt, doe hunt, a couple years back. 69,000 views in a matter of like a month, and all of a sudden it got hammered. We got flagged. And I think it's still sitting. This is 3 years ago. It's still sitting at 69,000.
It'll still pop up on our feed once in a while, get 10 views in 48 hours. Yeah. But like nothing compared
unless
to
somebody types in the exact same title or scrolls to your channel and clicks on it, nobody's seeing that video.
It's a shame. And, we've talked about this before, just me and you and text messaging. Like, it doesn't really matter, but it does. I just my competitive nature and my wanting to do better, and I use it as a measuring stick for myself against the world. I want our videos to do well because I want it to show that it's doing good. Do we need it to live? No, we're doing this.
Yeah,
for
and
fun.
we have got some comments saying that, oh, you guys are grayscale in the blood, you're conforming to YouTube, blah blah blah. But we want our videos to get
you
seen.
have to do that.
Yeah,
we wouldn't make these videos if we just made these videos for ourselves. We would just put them on a hard drive and watch them here in the shop. So
we did do that for about 7 years before we knew how to use YouTube, which is a big regret of mine. I should have learned how to use YouTube way before we did. Yeah.
Like we'd put the videos on Facebook, and we would just. At one point, we made a DVD of all our all our videos for that season.
That's fun,
but that was years and years ago. Now we want them to be seen, just because that's how we get the satisfaction of making them.
Yeah,
and it'd be cool. I enjoy, for all their faults and everything, but guys like Hunter, guys like Meat Eater, guys, Steven Ranella, guys, they have a voice that people look to and seek out and want even if they don't agree with, they still want their opinion.
Yeah.
And that to me one day would be cool. That would be my
just
favorite
to have
goal.
a voice.
Just to have a voice. You
so
don't have to make any money from it. I just want to have a voice.
So we can bring up the drone stuff.
Yeah, right. So I can talk.
Basically, so we can lobby for things like that and have a voice. Have a platform to talk on.
That's a good goal.
I wouldn't want to do it any other way than what we do it now. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to start making YouTube thumbnails that show my face looking back at the camera like we talked about.
So like you talk about Matt's goals with Born Again, how eventually you'd love to do it full time. Like we're kind of living what our end goal is. Just to do this, but to continue getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
But to be honest, to be completely transparent, I don't think it's possible. Like unless I were to quit my day job and like do it for a year and like really hammer it for a year, like I don't think it's possible. So I think for what it is now, granted, our YouTube's going to get better because, and I don't even think I talked about that. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. We're going to upload. So we're gonna be a year behind.
Yeah, so I actually had this written down, and we didn't get to it because we were just going down the rabbit hole. But I was gonna ask you what your posting schedule is going forwards.
Yeah, it's gonna be a year behind
because that's what Aaron's doing too. Next step, he's doing the same.
Yeah, because the lifestyle that we have, and like Cromer just had a baby, Jarrett had a baby.
If you take it on the chin this year, it'll help you next year.
Yeah,
big time.
No, and honestly, that's what we're gonna do.
Next year will be great because you'll have your content ready and you can hunt.
Yep. No, and seriously, I can't wait because we have like 6, 7, 8 like really good hunts that we're gonna spend like some quality time on, and we're gonna have 8 to 10 episodes that are like solid and not just this, half-ass episode that's thrown together for, because I have to get a video out this week.
Yep.
And like it's just gonna be better.
See, we're kind of doing the middle ground. Like what we did this year was posting some stuff live and waiting for some other things.
So this year's series was all stuff that we filmed with our cameras. Like we didn't go back with any historical footage. We didn't go back with trail camera footage.
Yeah.
We didn't do any of the backstory stuff. We just whatever we filmed with our camera that week, I put it together and put it out there. But we have 3 or 4 stories that we're going to retell next year with the years of history, the sheds, everything leading up to it.
So we're going to try to do kind of both. Some live and some the
And,
next
you know,
year.
with only – our audience is only 4 to 7% returning.
Yeah.
Everyone who watches is seeing it for the first time. So what does it matter?
I wish we could figure out how to get them stinking people to just,
I know.
just stick
subscribe.
We
around.
get 40,000 views a month, but only 2,000 are subscribers.
It's
you know
the
what
same
I mean?
thing on our channel.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Just hit subscribe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is about.
But I do the same thing when I'm watching YouTube on the TV. I'll watch a whole bunch of videos.
If I'm impressed, I'll subscribe. I will sit on my TV because I watch it all on my TV. I'll get on my remote and I'll be like, okay, that video was kind of cool. Let's subscribe to that. Like I will do that, but I don't do it all the time.
I'll be honest, it takes me a couple videos before I'll subscribe to somebody. But
yeah, you got any closing thoughts? I want to hear if you're willing to tell it on air, that's cool, and if you're not willing to tell it, that's fine. I want to hear about your 40-yard encounter with a giant. Like, what happened? Why did you not shoot?
I can talk about it. I really don't want to get on. Excuse me, let me rewind. I really don't want to talk about how big he is or like any kind of location.
Yeah,
No, I would never.
definitely don't have
We
any
always,
location.
even of our own, we would have to blurt it out because it's.
But yeah, I had the biggest deer of my life at 40 yards, and
You got video of it?
yeah, I do.
You can't show it, can you?
No,
No. Is it amazing? If
no, it's not, and I'll explain it.
But is it amazing that this deer exists?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you knew how many people were hunting this deer and how many people have permission on the place that I'm hunting him on, it's like, how in the world does this thing survive? I just got a picture of him the other day. So he vanished on me late season, like after muzzleloader. What was it? I got a picture of him the day after muzzleloader season, and he was going into this little like funnel.
I mean, that's good, though, because you survived muzzleloader.
Well,
you're
yeah.
alive. You're alive at that point.
So and it was a weekend, and I don't want to get too much into it, but the landowner has rules
yeah.
like anything else, and there's certain sections, areas, times, whatever. I'm just limited to how I can hunt him, and he went into this section that I could, pursue him in, and this isn't the story at 40 yards, but it's a good story. It was the last picture I got of him. He was actually trailing a fawn.
Yeah, I believe that.
So I think that she was hot, missed her first cycle. She didn't get bred, and maybe it was on her second cycle or something.
The rut never ends here until your antlers fall off.
So he took her into this little funnel, whatever you want to call it, and I get a picture of him, and it's like a half hour before daylight. I'm actually sitting on my couch, like full camo, like, where am I gonna go today? I'm running out of time. I woke up late. It's end of season. I'm just like, I'm dragging. I'm like, and then my phone ding, and then I'm going. So I'm pulling into the property, and my phone goes off again, and there's a guy with a beagle and a shotgun, and I assume he was rabbit hunting.
Yeah, we have a farm where that.
And
also.
he pushed that whole section out that he went into, and I just wanted to cry.
Yep.
But that since that encounter, I almost thought like maybe the guy shot at him, like, because like since then, up until that point, he was on my cameras weekly. Now I will be honest, I didn't have a lot of daylight opportunities on camera with him, but like a lot of just nighttime, just like in the area.
But he's there.
But he's there, somewhere. Yeah, somewhere he's there. So, when was it? The 40-yard encounter might have been. It was late season. I can't remember when it was. Like December or early January, like right before muzzleloader. Cold.
The day after the extended gun season ended is when we got that massive snow. That's when Nick killed the day after gun season. It wasn't then
because I was in Montana.
Okay.
But
yeah, that snow was awesome for deer hunting.
That deer that I missed, that 160 that I missed, he daylighted 3 times in a row on that same.
Was that the split brow?
Same bean
Or
field.
the split 3?
Yeah, yeah.
That deer?
The same bean field. He daylighted 3 times in a row. I'm like,
Yeah, that week that's when Nick killed, and it was just a great week for up here.
But here's your cell cam nonsense people are going to hate me for. So this deer was driving me nuts. Honestly, biggest deer I've ever had the opportunity to hunt, like just typical wise. I was hunting a 208 last year that got killed by the neighbor, but typical wise, he's the biggest deer I've ever had the opportunity at. I had 2 cell cameras on a tree. First time I've ever done this. 1 point in one direction, 1 point in the other direction. There was a situation where he was going into a certain area that most people would just never even think of hunting. And the only reason why I thought he was going in there is because I found some of his tracks that I believe that were his, because he's just so much bigger than every other deer, kind of going into this little area.
Your last podcast talked about tracks.
Yeah.
You talked about tracks.
And I just had this hunch, and I put 2 cameras on it, and I knew that, like, sooner or later he's going to go back in there. And I got a picture of him in the morning going in there, and there's only one way out, and it's right by me. So I took off of work a little early, and it was a weekday. I drove down there. And here's the other thing, like, at any point in time he could have seen me. It's very wide open, and I'm belly crawling, and I get to like 60 yards from where I think he is, and I'm just like, I can't go any farther. And I kind of tuck up into some brush. I'm on the ground, and I wish I could be in a tree, but it just wouldn't work. I'm on the ground, and I have a tripod camera. I have GoPro kind of like screwed into a tree. I'm just kind of sitting down in some brush with my bow. And I hit
This is a
like,
Joey Pavlovich type story.
I hit
one branch up off my tripod.
Yeah. So I hit like the edge line across from me, and it was like 54 yards. And I'm like, oh, I can, like, that's,
Yeah, I can make that shot.
Yeah, he comes out, he's dead. So the coolest thing in the world, and like we were talking about, camera keeps us honest. Even if I wasn't running a camera, I still try to follow the rules. It's just how I am. My dad just taught me at a young age that,
Right.
you got to be ethical.
Yep.
So it's getting late, and maybe 10 minutes of legal left, and it's getting dark. And everybody that films, you guys know that, like, camera light's basically over. I hear, and I have this on video, but I don't have any, I just have the audio. I hear him stand up. And in the picture, or I should say in the video I got that morning, there was 2 or 3 bucks that went in there with him. I hear him stand up and start tickling his antlers. But what I think happened was he stood up and shook, because I heard him stand up and like break a branch, and then I heard ting, 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 ting. Like he shook his rack, and his rack's so big that I think he was just banging off some saplings. And then all of a sudden I heard I got some antlers right in front of me. I can do it. It was just
like light sparring.
Just like they stood up and they
back slapping.
They were just touching. Like it was this quiet. So then I got my bow ready, and there's lots of things that could have happened that I wish I would have just sent one. But I look at my phone, and I probably got like 5 minutes, and I look up, and here comes the smallest buck out of the group, steps out, and I didn't even pay attention to him. I didn't even range him.
See, what you do then is you just put your phone down. You just
so
let whatever happens.
No, seriously.
Happens.
Yeah, but I wanted to be honest. Like I wanted. There was a lot of people after this deer. I know a lot of people are hunting this deer. I wanted it to be legit, and I didn't want any gray area. So I had my phone actually kind of like sitting on the ground in front of me, and I just tapped the screen every once in a while to see. Had my brightness turned down. The smallest buck walks out, and I didn't do anything besides just like I had my bow ready. And then a bigger deer, there was like a 138 point with him that stepped out. And he was at the very edge of that 52, 54, whatever it was. And I remember thinking, like, is that him? Like, I could barely see, like, silhouette. Like, I could see a rack. And what happened was I made the mistake of I pulled my rangefinder up and hit him, but my rangefinder was so bright, like the numbers.
Yeah, you couldn't see shit.
I couldn't see anything.
You gotta use like your binoculars.
And then when I came back down, I looked over and he's just stepping out like 10 yards closer to me. So I quickly hit him 40 yards. I go down to dial. I shoot a single pin, but I shoot a double stack.
Yeah.
And I can shoot to 40 yards if I use my bubble, but like a deer that big, I just wanted to dial. So I dialed, and I look up, and he's walking kind of like diagonally away from me. And at this point, I have already realized in my head, like, he's probably another 10 yards. So I hit him again, and he's 52. I go down, dial to 52. I just go up to bring my bow up, and he's just walking straight away from me. And I knew at that point in time that he's 60. Within another second, he's 62, he's 63, 64.
Gone forever.
And I had 3 encounters with him. That was the only one in bow range. But, yeah, if I would have shot that deer, like, heads would have turned. And I promise that. Like, it... Yeah.
Are you going to go shed hunting?
He's still holding.
Okay. Have you picked guys on camera shed hunting?
No.
That's good.
I think the property that I can hunt, I think it's just a bunch of,
Weekend warriors.
Yeah.
That's the best. Those are the best kind of guys.
I don't think it's...
You can use that to your advantage.
It's even better for guys like us because on a rainy Monday we can go in and shed hunt. They'll all work.
Yeah. I don't think it's... I don't think they're very dedicated. But, yeah, so that's the story. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to stay in touch with that rest of that story. Hopefully
Yeah, that's a perfect ending for the podcast, I think, after all that. So,
appreciate
anything else you got?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. This is Deer Shot Podcast episode 31. We are out.
Out.
Peace.